What's up, ladies and gentlemen? I'm Laughing Coyote, and this is another video that I'm doing. It's sort of quick, but I have someone with me. Name of this person is Usjid, and he has a channel known as Cricket for Us 2.0. Link to that will be in the description down below. We're gonna have a conversation about cricket, and yeah, here we go. Let's say you were made the head or the chairman of ICC today. As of right now, you are the chairman. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What are you doing first? What's the first thing you're going to do?
First thing I do is make an India-Pakistan series happen.
Okay.
Right? Make that series a constant, something like the Ashes. I don't know what to call it. Independence War. I don't know, something like that. But something that will, engage everyone in India and Pakistan. That will give both of those sides a lot more to, look forward to, rather than, bilateral series against this team, bilateral series against that team. So just give a bit more impetus. I just want to add one thing in there as well. So rather than, at the moment there's just, in the Ashes you have 5 test matches. I want this to be 5 test matches, 5 ODIs, 5 T20s, and then be very precise with regards to, the limited overs for ODIs. At the moment you have 2 new balls at both sides. Go back a few years and just use one ball for the entire 50 overs, so you can get some sort of reverse swing. That makes it a lot easier for the bowlers to kind of come into play, being a bowler obviously. And last point is make the boundaries a lot bigger, because at the moment, as you probably saw in the IPL and a lot of New Zealand, LPL, everything, the boundaries are about 60-65 meters. That's just too short in my opinion. I think they should be minimum 75 to 80 meters to kind of give some sort of, high level of cricket, rather than, you edge it for 6. That doesn't look as good. So things like that. Yeah.
Bigger boundaries, no new balls. Well, here's the thing. So you talk about, the way I understand that, what you just said is, you want something for the bowlers, but isn't the new ball a weapon for a bowler rather than the old ball?
I get what you're saying, but the thing is, with the white ball, if you remember from, let's say, early 2000s, when they used to have one white ball, around the 30th over mark, it would get old enough that you could reverse it. So if you can reverse swing the ball, that will be very, very beneficial, especially when the batsmen are tailing off in the last 10, 12 overs. When the ball is doing stuff and you're bowling Yorkers, and when you're bowling full deliveries as a bowler, that would be great sight to see. That's probably why.
Okay, I see. So, but again, that's a very specific skill though, so it's not going to help everyone, but the really skilled ones. We're going to have to bring Waqar Younis back into the squad. He's no good as a coach anyway, so. So, all right, so the first thing you're going to do is have a India-Pakistan series. Now, it's something I would like as well, and I think pretty much everyone watching this, Pakistan or not, or Pakistan-India or not, or Aussie or whatever, they'll all agree, because Pakistan-India, even in today when we have a World Cup or Champions Trophy or something like that, Asia Cup, pretty much everyone is waiting for that game. Whether you're from Pakistan, India, or another country, you're always waiting for that game. So yeah, that is something that I think will help not only the two nations but also cricket in general, although that's not really up to the ICC though. That's up to the two boards to figure out.
Just point that, so where at the moment you have the World Test Championship, right? That is all decided by the ICC. It's not the boards. So I know they have to kind of discuss it and get agreement. However, if the ICC says that Pakistan and India play in the UAE, they have to play in the UAE. That's kind of my understanding. So again, at the moment, that's where my head's at. That's something that kind of needs to happen, especially as you said, both countries, not just both countries, all of cricket. Wait for that kind of game.
To happen. Yeah. If you remember, they did a video before the World Cup asking the captains what's their most anticipated game, and pretty much every single captain said Pakistan versus India. I think one of the guys was like, why are we even here? Everyone's here for them, So it's definitely the biggest event in any tournament. So that's a good one, Any other? What would your next thing then be? For me, I mean, like I said, that's more, I don't know. It's a weird one because there's a lot of politics involved, and there's a lot involved. It's easier said than done, that one. But for me, I think if I was made the head of ICC, for me, the changes that I would bring right away would be more about the rules. Particularly rules that help the bowlers, because I think the game is going in the direction of the batsman a bit too much.
Yeah.
I agree with the boundary thing that you said, to make him a bit longer. But at the same time, I think it needs to be a format by format thing. So I would keep him longer in tests, then bring him a little shorter in ODIs, and then keep him whatever size they are at the moment for T20. Because let's be honest, that's what T20 is. It's you ball, you just throw the ball. No one cares about the bowler. It's all about the batsman, and the batsman whacks it over the rope. That's what T20 is made for. So I would keep that. Another thing I would do is change the free hit rule in ODIs only. Again, like I said, T20 is sort of like, to me, T20 is like a party. It's just have fun. So like, I'll give them a free hand. They can do whatever they want. ODI though, I will change the free hit rule. No, that's gone. You don't have free hits anymore. If you bowl no ball, you're punishing the bowler already, because he can't take a wicket on that, and then he has to bowl that again, and he's giving up one run. So the rules were already harsh, and they made it even harsher. So I would definitely change that. Another rule, again, like I said, I'm going to try to help the bowlers. Being a bowler myself, you're a bowler as well. I think pretty much everyone in Pakistan is a bowler. But the LBW rule, I don't like it. It's
controversial.
I don't like that at all. For me, look, let's make it simple. Cricket is so complicated when you compare it to other sports. And it's unnecessarily complicated. The rule is, if the ball hits the wickets, it's out. So then why does that rule all of a sudden become so complicated? You've got like 15 different components. When it's an LBW, it has to be pitching in line. It has to be, the impact has to be in line. More than half the ball has to be hitting the stumps. Like, what is all this crap? Just, if it's hitting the stumps, it's out. If it's not hitting the stumps, it's not out. Keep it simple. Don't care if it's pitching outside of leg, you're a right-hander bowling to a right-hander. Impact shouldn't matter. If it's hitting the stumps, out. Umpire's call, out of the window. That's how it should be. Oh, by the way, DRS should be in every single format. Like, that should be a must.
Yeah. Oh, that I agree with. I agree with that one. I think one thing I'll slightly defer on your point. I think that half a ball rule is stupid. I think that needs to go away.
The umpire's call, basically.
Yeah, umpire's call. As long as the ball has hit the stumps, that's fine. But I like the rule where it's where it also bases on impact outside off kind of thing. Mainly because I'm a bit conventional. So for that kind of mindset, I'm thinking maybe we stick with that. But I know most bowlers I speak to, they're like, why does that rule even exist? Why can't we just swing the ball so much that even if the impact is outside off, if it's gonna hit the stumps, you give it out. What's the harm?
Right.
Why not just make it easier?
Yeah, because it's not only making it easier, it's also you're punishing the bowler for being brilliant, right? Not everyone can swing it like Waqar Younis or Wasim Akram used to do. That's a special set of skill.
That's true.
You're just discouraging people from swinging it that much. I mean, that's all that is. So I think that rule should go. And I think that'll bring some balance to cricket, because nowadays, I mean, the Australia versus India is a fine example. You've had near 400 runs in every single game. Like, what is cricket becoming? It's just the bowlers they don't really count. They're just there to entertain the batsmen. It's a batsman game now, and I don't really like that. So that would be my main focus.
No, fair enough. One thing I'd say you could potentially add is bring back a lot more bouncers. Because I know a few weeks ago, this was a huge thing when Will Peteski was hit on the head. And I think it was Greg Chappell or Ian Chappell came out and said bouncers should be banned or something like that, right? Personally, I think bouncers are a great tool that a bowler can use strategically, especially.
Yeah.
Right now, is it one you can bowl in a limited overs game, one proper bouncer. Otherwise, if you bowl more than one, then it's considered a wide or something like that.
Isn't it
I think
above the shoulder?
one above the shoulder, yeah.
Right, but you can bowl
one
as
above
many to chest height, right? So
Yes, yeah.
yeah. Okay.
A lot of the time, if you realize kind of, it's only dangerous when it comes like here, or if it's like in your armpit kind of length.
Yeah. The neck area, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So if that can be more targeted towards favoring bowlers as well, that would be somewhat amazing.
That's something I would definitely like to see. Being a pace bowler myself, I love bowling bouncers. Scaring the batsman it's a special kind of feeling. So, but I understand both sides of the arguments, because it is also protecting, and especially after the incident that happened with the Australian player Phil Hughes. So
yeah.
It's you want that. Yeah, it brings excitement. You want to do that, but then, what's that saying? It's all fun and games until someone loses an eye, right? So
yeah,
I kind of understand it. I wouldn't touch that too much, though. Like I said, if it's below shoulder height, you can bowl as many, and you can still bowl one above the shoulder. So. Yeah. Just to be on the safe side, I would keep that as it is. You would do what, 2 allowed, or how?
Yeah,
what would
I'd say 2. I'd say 2.
Okay, so you would make it 2 instead of 1. Okay, I mean that's not that bad.
I wouldn't go 6. I wouldn't go 6.
Right, just unlimited. It's a buffet. Yeah. So okay, yeah, that's a good rule. That's very good rule. So that's so far for both of us. It's very heavily in the favor of the bowlers. Any mercy at all for the batsman?
Yes, there's one thought, but this is the thing. It depends on the size of the stadium. So I don't know if you watched that game. It was quite a long time ago when they were playing at the MCG and they had 8, 10, and 12 runs. So if you hit the roof, it's 12.
Yes.
If you hit top deck,
Afridi hit the roof, yeah.
Yeah, right. Or
typical Afridi, just smashed
tried to hit the roof, and then it just missed it by that much and got caught. Right?
Yep.
So something like that. So I don't know exactly what number, but let's say if you smash it and it goes out of the ground, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's like if it's Sharjah, you can easily hit it out of the ground. And
every other 6 is out of the ground.
Yeah. Right. So that it's something to think about, because I think 6 is a great tool. I think something bigger than a 6 should also be in contention in some sort of way. I know BBL added a few new rules, which, I don't know, power surge and boost and all that. Let's
they
not
added
go down
all
that
that crap, and they haven't added DRS. BBL is not a fine example to follow.
Yeah, so I think some sort of new type of boundary would be something I would go for. I don't know if it's 8, 10, or 12 that I like. Obviously, I'm thinking even
it
numbers.
Was 8, 10, and 12.
Yeah.
If you're talking about the same game, I'm thinking. I think it was a charity game, wasn't it?
Yeah. Sorry, say that again.
It was a charity game, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
You would add so different kind of boundaries, different ways of getting runs. Now I'm a bit too torn about that one. So see how I said in the start that I won't touch Test or ODIs because those are sort of sacred. But 2020 is the new format. So in that, we can maybe add the 8, 10, and 12. Although normally the argument with cricket is that the reason why Americans and Canadians and sort of these other people, from other nations who are not cricketing nations, are not really interested in it is because the scores are too high. Like if you look at baseball, the highest amount of runs you can get in one pitch, they call it, we call it deliveries, is 4, and that's a grand slam, and that happens like once the entire game, maybe.
Wow.
And that's 4 total runs. That's 3 players on each base and then the batter himself, so that's 4 runs total. So there's that side as well. If you reduce the number of runs being scored, maybe it's easier for international audience to understand. So there's that argument as well. I'm not saying that's what they should do. I think the way it is great. I think T20 and T10 even now we have it. So if you then don't want to touch T20, T10 definitely, and then Cricket 19 actually has introduced a new format known as 5-5, where you have 5 wickets in 5 overs. You're not even going all the way to 10 wickets. And then speaking of new formats, Then there's a format that has been completely forgotten, and it was one of my growing up. I was very young, so I have very vague memory of this. But growing up, there were so many double wicket games, it's just gone. It's just gone, disappeared. Like, I would love to see that format back. You know, it was such a fun format. You know, way more fun than T20. Way more fun. You know, you couldn't get out. It was like if you got out, you would lose some runs. Yeah. It was amazing.
See, I think the good thing about double wicket was that your wicket didn't really matter.
Right.
That's the thing, because I remember playing double wicket in under 11s and under 13s. And I thought to myself, I was like, oh, I can just go in and try and smash every ball.
Right.
If I don't get it, then it's only -5. I can try hit another 6. Now I'm back to 1, right?
Right.
So that maybe that's the mindset. And I can't remember which game it was. Was it Don Bradman or the one before Don Bradman that I used to play quite a lot, where they had double wicket in terms of like PlayStation wise?
So that would be Brian Lara Cricket 2007 and 2005.
Wow. That's even longer, yeah. So that tells you how old I am. But yeah, and with Brian Lara 07, I think I used to play double wicket quite a lot because it was very entertaining, especially with the way they swung the ball. Sorry, talking about games right now, but yeah, very entertaining. Ooh, maybe more countries. So you have more of a league system similar to, you know, football premiership or something like that.
I see. So just have. So right now what they have is they have the associates teams playing amongst each other, and then the full members. So you're saying just put them all in one?
Yeah.
You would have some brilliant records like 36 all out. Anyways.
That shade, wow.
So one thing I would like to add, again, this is something that I used to see so much growing up, and it's just gone, disappeared now. Is tri-nation series or quad nation series. When there's a series, but it's not bilateral, it's trilateral. I don't know what the word would be, but it's more than 2 nations. It's 3 nations, 4 nations. We had so many of those back in the day, and it was so much fun.
Pakistan, India, Australia. There was the Coca-Cola Cup or something like that.
Yes, those were some of the amazing matches in those series, and I would like to see more of that as well. Now that I think about it, about creating different series and tournaments, Asia Cup came to my mind for some reason, and with that another idea came that why can't we just have just like we have Asia Cup, why can't then we have what's Australia called? Oceania, whatever. That cup, and then European Cup, and then, African Cup, and, stuff like that.
The thing with that is, though, right? I'm sorry for any, any African fans in here, but South Africa's going to win every time in the African Cup,
but don't you think that's going to promote cricket a lot more in Zimbabwe and all the other countries? Not just Zimbabwe. I mean, Kenya. Kenya's pretty much gone at this point.
Yeah.
So, if you have let's say, Africa Cup or whatever, I don't know what they call it, but you would definitely, at least for that, because they don't really get other series, so they don't really need to worry about it. But when you have this every year or every 2 year or every 4 year, whatever, then they have that thing, that goal that they have to set for themselves, just like the big teams do, right? They're like, we have to prepare for the next World Cup, the next Asia Cup, the next Champions Trophy, whatever. When they have nothing to look forward to, well, how do you expect them to improve, right? Yeah, so I think that'll be... Obviously, it's going to be really fun in Asia, because Asia Cup already is like one of the biggest tournaments out there in the world. But even in the other continents, like in America and Africa, and even in Europe, because, look at Europe. Other than England, who do you have? Right?
So surprisingly, right? I don't know. This was about a month ago. They were having a proper tournament between Bosnia and Netherlands and things like that.
There's a European league going on, yes. Yeah. Germany and Spain and all those countries are in it,
Exactly.
But again, it goes back to the Africa thing, is it's always going to be England winning it. Maybe Ireland, but... And then England, let's not get political. I was going to say England wants out of EU anyways. Doesn't matter.
Wow. They're already out. Don't worry, we're already out.
So yeah, that's something that I would like to see as well. Anything else as the head of? Because I'm about to fire you right now. So before you get fired,
okay.
Any last decisions?
I can't be fired. No, okay, I'm kidding. But in all seriousness, with regards to cricket, I think as soon as you said something about, Africa Cup and European Cup, I thought of, because there's so much franchise cricket at the moment, right? It's hard to kind of allocate all of those in a block in some sort of way. So
no, I don't think so. See, I'll give you an example of that. We'll take football. Now, football has about 128 nations playing at all times. They have every single continent has their own tournament. Then there's the UEFA Champions League. Then there's the UEFA Europa League. Then there's the Premier League. Every country has their own league. There are like 100 leagues. Then you have the World Cup, right? So there are way more leagues and tournaments in football, way more teams in football than in cricket. So if they can do it with way bigger, they have to deal with a lot more teams. Cricket, there are like 16 teams?
The difference is in cricket, you don't have one game. So let's say in football, you have qualifiers, don't you, for the World Cup? Yeah. You don't just have bilateral football series.
Right, you don't. Yeah.
Yeah. In cricket, that's one of the big things, isn't it? At least in my opinion. You have bilateral or trilateral series depending on what you're thinking. Yeah. So with regards to that, that's what I'm thinking. How can franchise cricket be fit into a year? Because you need to have, let's say, the English summer, right? Then you have the Australian summer, right? Then that would only leave, let's say, 4 months or let's say 6 months in the year where there can be cricket allocated, where you have other teams who need to play as well. So it's hard to manage all that. So that's one of I would actually cut down on franchise cricket. I know it's a huge thing. It makes a lot of money and everything. I would cut down on it mainly because I think the international games are a lot more, this is going to sound really bad. The international games are real. Franchise cricket isn't. Franchise
I understand
cricket
what you're
is
saying.
Very commercial. I know.
No, I completely understand. I completely understand what you're saying. Yeah.
And because of that reason, I would actually cut down on every league, barring, let's say, maybe IPL. IPL is probably the one that I would keep because it's the creme de la creme.
So you're saying what I said. You would do what I said, but you would replace it with the franchise cricket. So you would get rid of PSL, CPL, Vitality Blast, the 100, BBL. So okay. So I guess I wouldn't do that. So I guess because here's the thing, I'm a huge fan of football. So I guess my sort of mentality is that football mentality where you have all these leagues, and I guess you would get rid of the bilateral series then, and they would be replaced by, like I said, the Tri-Nation series or the Quad Nations or whatever, stuff like that. So I guess you would have no series between just two teams.
Yeah,
except the Ashes. You don't want to get rid of the Ashes.
Different. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the India-Pakistan one that I said. So,
Right, yeah.
Like, that's the basis of my entire plot.
Yeah.
To fix the ICC.
So you would just have Ashes and then Indo-Pak, whatever. Right, some name we'll give it.
Independence Cup.
Independence Cup. Yeah, sure. It could work. You could start it on the 14th because 14th is Pakistan and then 15th is India. So it's pretty much, it's within 24 hours. So in that same sort of, well, depending on what time zone is, it could be on the same day that the independence for both countries start. So you could do it that way, start it on the day of independence. That would be great. I mean, it would definitely, I think it would not only help cricket, but it would also help the relationships outside of cricket of the two nations. Especially if you brand it in a way where it's more about friendship than rather, battling it out. Do you know what I mean?
Of course. Yeah, definitely. There's, I don't know if you watch any Bollywood films or anything. There was this film called Mahuna about 14, 15, 16 years ago.
I've heard of that film, but I would have been about 3 or something like that. So
right, okay. So basically in that film, right, there's this concept of Project Milap, which is basically talking about Pakistan and India getting together and, you know, freeing some prisoners.
That's a SRK movie, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I know it because of the songs.
Yeah.
Old Bollywood movies, man, they had some amazing songs. Anyways, continue. Sorry for interrupting you.
No, that's fine. So basically, that's the way I see it, because the point of the movie, the way the governments in that film were trying to act was, okay, this is a sign of friendship. This is where we can build our friendship on. So this Independence Cup, or anything, whatever you want to call it, can be that foundation, after which, as you clearly said, leads to better relationships between the two countries.
Yeah, I can see that happen, yeah. So that's what that movie's about. I've heard so much about that. I might watch it. I thought you were going to say Bajrangi Bhaijaan, because that's also about the Indo-Pak relations. I don't know if you've seen it. It's a Salman
That's quite
Khan. recent
to me. So
well, for me, I mean, I have to... I have to talk about the recent ones. But yeah, I definitely agree with the India-Pak series. So if we're going to keep it the old format, then what I would then do instead of creating... And then again, for the cups, what we can do is make it every 4 years. So it's not too, too stressful.
Extensive. Yeah, of
right.
Course, yeah.
Too much work. And then we can do it in a way where it's... So this year will be the Asia Cup. Next year will be European Cup. The year after that will be Africa Cup, and then it will be 4 years. The cycle will repeat that way. Yeah. So every year you'll have a different cup, and that way you won't have all 4 in the same year, or 5 actually, because you got Australia in there as well. So yeah, there could be a way. I mean, there's many ways to manipulate around it, but I would not get rid of franchise cricket. I think cricket was dying, and it's been saved by franchise cricket. As much as people like to hate on it, I love it. I think it's one of the greatest things that's happened to cricket. It's keeping it alive. So what more can you ask for?
Yeah, I see what your point is. I think when cricket, so back in late 70s or mid 70s, was the Kerry Packer series that kind of revived cricket again, or early 80s, whatever it was, somewhere in 70s, 80s.
Yeah.
And then it was the ICL in 2007, 2008, which initially started it all off. And
which then, pretty much, man, that it was Indian Cricket League, but it had pretty much all Pakistanis, didn't it?
Yeah. There was a team called Lahore Badshahs that won, I think, 2 years in a row.
Yeah. All right. So anything else?
No, I think I'm done. You can take the ceremonial reins from me. I'm done with this job. I don't want it anymore. It's too much stress.
You had a good run with it, but we'll have to move it on to Misbah, I guess. No. No, so yeah, those are some of the things that we would do if we were put in charge of the ICC. Do let us know in the comments down below what changes you would make. Do you agree with any of the changes we said? Any new things that you would like to add as well? And yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, do drop a like, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Until then, have a nice. And don't forget to check out Cricket for Us 2.0. That's us, this channel. Link in the description, like I said at the beginning.